Hi, hello, welcome to my backyard. It is bloody nice outside. Elephant in the room. Yeah, I chopped all my hair off. It's much better now. So what we're doing is this like tavern-esque type thing. I showed you the plans for them in the wall shelf video. I showed you a bit more of the things, but I'll throw those up here too. I'm gonna bring us over on the ground because where else would we be doing any crafts? We do it on the floor. And we're gonna use a Dremel for the first time and see how well it works for what I'm trying to do. And I'll tell you more about that when we get over there. I have no idea how this is gonna go. We have our goodie bag and we have our Dremel, and that's all that matters. This is only half of the foam. There's like a bajillion pieces right here. I left the other half at the top of the stairs in case like this doesn't work out. Let's see. Oh, that's kind of ugly. The noise, that is. But I like what it's doing. It's gonna get everywhere. But that's why we're doing it outside. First one done. I'd say that it worked out pretty well. I mean, it looks like kind of ass right now. When I go upstairs, I'll use a hammer and like something else, and I'll like weather it a bit more. And upstairs, I'm gonna use multiple shades of brown paint. I am going to continue the grind, literally. Enjoy the view. Hi, hello. We are back inside. I realized that the floor is really creaky right here. I don't know if you could hear it with the microphone. With those cut, I am not entirely persuaded that they are wood with them as they are. We're gonna try to texturize them. I don't know how I'm going to do that really yet. What I'm gonna do is use a pencil and add in a couple of like more shallow lines, question mark. I think that already looks a little bit better. I'm gonna try not to lose my mind while I go through every one of these boards. I'll see you in a bit. Well, that took longer than I thought it was going to. I feel like doing that texturing helped out a lot. What I'm going to do painting wise is I have my samples that I got for the wall. I'm really hoping that Eve is a good girl. She's usually a really good helper, as in doesn't walk over all the stuff. But she's been extra clingy lately, which I don't mind. I will be the other half of your Velcro, darling. You wanna sit? Sit. Oh, good girl. Paint it with this, and then use this, and use this brush to dry brush. I'll see you on the other side. Hi, everybody. Coming at you live after work. Today we have Archie up here. Yeah. No, you can't walk on this. This is precisely why we can't have Archie up here while I do things, because he doesn't understand proper helper etiquette. But he understands how to roll over for a good belly rub. I have already watered down some of the darker colored paint. What we're going to do today is try to deepen the textures on this wood here. There are some pieces that I think do look really good, and there's some pieces that don't. What I like about like doing this and other forms of art and stuff, it does use your whole brain mostly. I don't know if that's true. Don't take it as a fact. After I finish going through with this darker color, I might go over these another time with an even more watered down brown that goes deeper in the cracks. That's what I meant this brown to be, but then it just didn't turn out that way. I'll get back to you when these are done and I decide what I'm going to do with the next phase of this. Okay? I tried to do it darker and I made it more watery in hopes that it would go into the cracks and stuff, but that didn't exactly go as planned. We're going to work on that technique some more another time. I'd say that's probably mixed, probably. And we're going to futz around and find out. You know how it goes. I'm liking that. Take the wins where we can get them. I want to do art full time. I don't even know what I would do. I know that I really want to start doing ceramics. The thing that's hindering me from doing that is I don't have a setup for that. Granted, I could probably set it up in the basement because I could just vent the kiln out of one of the windows down there or something. But like that's the other thing is I don't have the knowledge to just start it, and it's like that's such a cop out. I've been saving a bunch of pins on Pinterest. It's about kilns and about clay reclamation in hopes that that will come in handy later whenever I take the leap. I have thought about trying to find a local studio to do stuff at. My love of pottery really stems from my senior year of high school. I just instantly loved it. Well, actually, it stemmed from elementary school because my elementary school art teacher was super cool. Just finished those. I'm gonna let that dry and I'll catch you tomorrow. Another day, another dollar. Bro, that's the vibe. She's just over the moon that I'm up here right now. I just got home from work. It's 4:15. I came up here not really knowing what I want to do. I have no legitimate solid idea on how I'm going to attach any of this to anything. So I figured we'd figure it out together. I haven't really thought about like how I'm going to evenly space these out because frankly, that's a lot of work. Do I want to evenly space them out? Kind of, sort of. For the sake of trying to make it as least bad as possible, I'm gonna roughly measure out where I want to put them. I'll be right back. Glad, not so glad you didn't have to see that. I don't know. I have decided that I'm gonna put them about 6 feet apart because that's what it looked right in my drawing. But yeah, we'll cut them as we go. So we know that that one down there just needs a tiny bit cut off. So we'll get that done. It's a sad day. Coming at you the same day with some very unfortunate news. And that news is I didn't cut and paint the bottom of what was going to be the bottom of these. Yeah, I was like, oh, I still have some extra boards there. And I was like, oh, I have extras, for that one over there. And I was like, wait a minute. That's fucking unfortunate. I am going to go take care of that. And after I glue up the first beam, we'll figure out together how we're going to affix it to the ceiling. Because I have no idea how that's going to work. Hi, and welcome back to Heather's Corner, where we have semblance of a plan. We have concepts. We just kind of figure it out as we go. After much painting and assembling, I have the faux beams that are over here, but we're gonna leave that for another time / later because I spent this morning putting up some more of that faux wallpaper downstairs because I had extra, and I've had my fill of working with my hands over my head. It's hard. Today, we're going to be doing this window. Am I going to take off these curtains while I do this? I don't know. Should I make my life easier? I think we're going to do it. So this is what we're working with. Wow, she really just stapled that to the wall. Okay. Not going to lie, I had a fairly rough morning this morning. Just woke up on the wrong side of the bed, and it was a bit of a sourpuss today. We're doing this in the hopes that it makes us feel better. I did go ahead and mark on this piece where 4 inches was from each end. This piece will be right here, and then the other pieces will be around the other side. The plan stand for attaching this to this molding is have these, what's it called? Duct tape. I was going to loop the duct tape back on itself, and I was going to put it towards the top of here where it's like fairly even. I was thinking that that would be enough. Without further ado, we'll find out if that works. So that went very smoothly. Really needed that small W today. Yes, it's a little wiggly, but that's because it's held on with duct tape. That's not going anywhere. Very enthused about that. I'm going to go ahead and put on the rest of them. So for these side pieces, I realized that I just measured wrong. I don't know if I absolutely hate it yet. I'm going to put these on. We're going to see. But I'm only going to judge it after I get both of the sides on. let's do the other side and then we'll see how we like it. Let's talk about it. I really like it. I am not fretting as much about the ends being longer than the side because the majority of the time it's going to be covered up by the curtains. The thing that I do want to do though, I would like to put a piece on around there. I do have extra wood for that. We'll come back to that because I want to take care of the skylight window. We'll see and assess our resources to see if we have enough wood to do those things. Let's head over to the skylight. The ceiling is textured. It's ever so slightly, and you can see it kind of in here with the light raking off of it. I'm going to try to do the duct tape with the foam again because that's just the easiest, most cost-efficient option that's renter-friendly. If it doesn't work, I will get back to you because if it doesn't work, there's a likely chance that it falls down in the middle of the night and it scares the fucking ever-living shit out of me. So, yeah, Bean? Oh my god. Anyway, I'm going to cut more duct tape pieces and we'll see how this goes. Let's lay on the floor. I don't hate it. I think it makes the skylight look even bigger. Overall, I'm really pleased with how the execution of this turned out. For the inside bit, what I'm actually thinking of doing is using it's called hardboard. It's just like heavy duty cardboard paper type stuff. I was going to paint this the same color as the stuff, and then I was thinking of using this tool here, and it makes it so that it has a wood texture. I need to check and see if that is available at my local Home Depot or anywhere else around me so that I can actually procure the tool. Next, what I'm doing is I'm going to measure all the different faces of the skylight. I definitely want to cut out the pieces and get them painted the same color as this, so that way I can see if I actually like it and see if I need to actually go to the store. Today, we're going to try to use our fancy new tool. I already tested it. It definitely went. Good is debatable. Gosh, nothing to it but to do it. I think the trick is I just have to put it on fast enough so that it doesn't dry, so that I can still make the texture in it. It definitely looks like something. I mean, that'll do, pig. Oh, hi, darling. Let's go for gold. Definitely doing... Oh, that's what that's for. It's to make the knots. Gosh, you'll learn with every pass. I didn't show you because I didn't know if I was going to tell you, but I did end up putting some nails into the skylight pieces because they were not sticking well enough with the duct tape at an inverted angle. And so far, I haven't had any trouble with those. With that, let's put these bitches, with that, let's put these things up on the skylight. Here is the botched final reveal, kind of, sort of. I'm really glad with how the wood texture thing came out, but Nathan had brought up a point that if I had cut this just like the ½ inch longer, it would have looked nicer because it would cover up all these rough edges. I think I'm going to do that. Overall, I'm really happy with the effect that it has. It is much later. Since I recorded the last video like a few weeks ago, probably TBH at this point, one of these actually fell off the ceiling because of just the duct tape and the cupping, how it wasn't staying on the wall. So I made an idea. That idea is that I cut the flaps off of our Christmas tree box because they are long enough to contain this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to glue this onto this cardboard so that way I can weigh it down with things so that it'll actually stay flat. Also, you can see I'm going to leave a gap at the bottom edge here. And that is because saying earlier where I wanted to cover the foam edge along the inside frame of the skylight. This is how these panels turned out. Very happy with the color matching I was able to achieve on the cardboard part. Today on Nathan's way home from work, he picked up some command strips for me, and I even did the whole shebang, and I had some alcohol wipes and I actually wiped all of this down let's glue this. Ta-da! One side done. And then we'll do side. The other thing is that I used these two pieces to hold this back piece down flat. And then I have an extra sliver of part of it that I had to cut off. And I was thinking of just putting it here. I'm gonna finish this up and we'll see the final reveals. So now, long story short, I would move this piece in and this piece up so then these pieces on the inside would be cut thinner so that the pieces on the outside would cover those edges and it would just look more seamless. That's the idea. So yeah, let's get to it, I suppose. Alright, I'm gonna keep it real with you, Chief. I'm running out of steam for the day. I put the duct tape on the beams after I had them glued. Anyway, this one's gonna go relatively right here. Doesn't seem to want to be sticking. We're gonna attach these to the ceiling with screws. I'm just gonna do one in the middle. That will be more than enough with the hot glue to actually hold it on. Screwing it into the ceiling did not work because I was too lazy to find the studs. What I ended up doing instead was I just took those middle sections and I just put a bunch of duct tape on it. Why is this not working? Seems about right. It's also creeping away from the ceiling. Noted. Well, I just feel like I should play circus music of like everything going wrong. Okay, new dawn, new day. Ignore that the room looks like a dumpster fire right now. We're in the middle of construction. As you can see, this is not on the ceiling anymore. And that would be because they lasted about 10 minutes before they fell down. I don't know when I'll ever learn, but if you know how to do something the right way, just do it the right way first, even though you think that you can take a shortcut. But that's besides the point. Today, we learned what I ended up doing because I did it the right way. I actually tried to use my stud finders, but I think I need a new 9-volt battery because they weren't working. What I did instead is, these are in joists, so these are strong as heck, and I would swing on them and trust them with my life. Because my stud finder wasn't working, I just took my 2-foot long ruler and I just measured 16 inches because these are 16 inches apart, and that's typical for most studs, most anywhere in a house. What I ended up doing was I found the studs and I did it the way that the internet told me. I drilled in a little block, and luckily 2x4s are actually 3.5 inches wide because of the shrinking in the kiln. Is this just slid right over it? It just stays. So I don't even have to attach it. Even if I just give it a little tug like this, like it might bobble a little bit. Like then again, it's not going to happen. Very, very pleased with that. Let's get the last one in, shall we? It's not straight. Like I had discussed in a different part of the video, I was thinking about doing the trim around the outside and then something around the door. The time has come. So behind the camera here, I have this super long stick. I was like, oh, you know what? This is perfect. Let's see. And then you just have to pull I think what we're going to work on next is the thing that's going to go around the door there. And that, my friends, is for us to figure out on the floor back over there. Okie dokie, everybody. The half circle here is the half circle that I cut out from the door. I'm able to use this as a template. I'm going to use all of these weird off-ended cuts. I think that this might be easier to do if I do it out of trace. Cool. Then we take our beam compass, put it at the bottom here, and move this out to here. Like this. Next, we're going to make the most of it. I'm going to have to cut these in pieces. Now I actually have to use my brain a bit more, which is unfortunate. Hi, hello, welcome to the end of the projects. Forward final thoughts, if you will, are overall super easy, pretty dang affordable. I think the foam sheet was like maybe $10 at most. You could honestly use craft paint. Super simple, just need some duct tape. The thing I like the most about what this did for the space is it really helped carry the brown tone of the TV wall throughout the rest of the room. I really like what it did for the ceiling. Like, it feels a little bit shorter. Overall, it is definitely more of the whimsical fairy woodland vibe. I did learn a good bit about texturing wood. I think that the texture that I picked out, it goes well with the ones on the ceiling. I would have probably done something a little different for the skylight one. It's a bit rustic, but it's fine. It's also fine on Eve's wall because that's like the same vibe as the ceiling. And then the one on the window, honestly, it's kind of just like the brown shape. You don't really see the pattern of it unless it's like nighttime or something, or you're really close because the window tends to blow it out like it's doing right now. I'm just low-key giggling and kicking my feet because I'm going to have to repaint almost every single wall up here before we leave and move out, whenever that is. But don't know when that is because we're going to stay here as long as we can. I really hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, leave a like, comment what you thought I could have done differently or what you liked. I'll see you next time for an overall final studio reveal. Also, me talking about some of my favorite parts and some of the parts that I might have done differently had I known how they'd go now. So, I'll see you next time. Okay, bye.